Okay, so the topic of today's video is mistakes people make in the deck builder. Now, while this can apply to whales, it's mostly directed towards free-to-play players because when you don't have a selection of all those good cards that are good on their own, it's easy to make those mistakes. And I'm also free-to-play, so I made some of the mistakes listed in the video. Starting off with number one, I say don't stack the late game cards, especially if you don't even have a way to get there. Just looking at the starter deck real quick, you see all these late game cards, some of them not even good. Then you look at the early game. Against any normal deck, you can just see that there's no real way you making it to the late game to even use some of these cards. So it's stuff like this that you just want to look out for and don't get caught up in. Number two, I say use cards with good stats instead of just random ability cards. Now you can use like it's up to you if like your deck synergizes, but just looking here, I mean the Marshwalker and the Feral Cat. It's obvious which one you would have in your deck. It's obviously the Marshwalker because of the stats, especially at that mana. It's only you gotta consider the mana of the card and the stats it's giving you. So just watch out for that. I've seen a lot of newer players like having these weird cards that really don't do nothing. Like, and it really gets bad at 3 mana and whatnot. If you look, I'm about to look at this card. This card right here is just bad. I don't know. I guess it don't even like I can't explain how bad this card is. Like, don't put stuff like this in your deck. You wasting mana basically. Like I just looked at a card with 1 mana that had the same stats as these cards. So like, just watch out for stuff like that. Number three, I'd say like if you can have a trump card or something. Like not nothing crazy. Like obviously not you're gonna win the game with it, but if we go over I don't even consider this, but if we go over to the war faction real quick, just as an example, not even gotta search it. This card is like Overproof Brew. This is a card like it's a free to play card. Everybody has it. This can basically change the game in the right situation. You could be losing. Although it is conditional, you have to have cards on the board already. Stuff like this. You wanna have stuff like this in your deck just so when it gets shaky, like you have something to look to, at least. Number three, number four, I say you should have relic removal. Just as a quick example, I'm gonna go over here, type in Bronze Servant. This is one I always recommend. It's the two other ones, the Wiccan Trapper and the Basilisk. It's up to you which one you really want to have. Along with relic removal, I want to also like add in like just tech in general. Like let's say I don't know which deck specifically. Let's say if your deck is weak, the Boar White Death, or just sleep in general. Maybe you want to add in sleep removal like the Radiant Dawn and whatnot in Light Faction. So you might want to consider stuff like that. And lastly, this is like a tip for real new players. Like don't use these starter decks. If you've been looking through the decks, like I even been using as examples of what not to do, yeah, just don't use these. Like most likely you're not winning the game, at least not in the higher ranks. I can guarantee that. But yeah, just don't even use these. Don't even look at these. You can't delete them and whatnot, so it is what it is. But that's basically it for this video. If you found this helpful, please consider liking and subscribing to the video. And thanks for watching. Until next time.